Ayo, what is up, squad? Coach Chad here, CEO of the Next Level Coaching Academy, creator of the Fit CEO podcast. You guys know already. Hopefully, you guys are doing amazing. If you're watching on YouTube, we got a little bit of strange lighting. I am recording this at nighttime. I had a busy ass day, but it was on my to-do list to get a podcast done. And I'll be honest, for a minute, I contemplated. I said, maybe I'll push it off till tomorrow. But I said, no. Got to keep the promises to myself. And that will be a big message around what we talk about today. I'm going to get vulnerable with you guys today. I know primarily on the podcast, I talk a lot about strategy. Admittedly, I really enjoy talking about strategy. I also admittedly suck at talking about myself. I don't do it enough. I know I need to do it more. And I know you guys enjoy when I talk about personal stories, struggles, challenges, things of that nature. But I really like talking strategy. I mean, that's why I got into business coaching, is I love strategizing and, sharing the different things that I've learned. But today we get vulnerable. Today, I tell you guys a story, and I'll start the story with this. The story is going to include steroids. And the story is also going to include me gaining a ton of weight. So steroids and a ton of weight, which is a good way to start the story. All right, so giving you guys a little backstory. When I was a kid, I was known for having abs, and this is kind of funny, but my friends made a fake Twitter account in high school called Chad's Abs, and they would tweet from the Chad's Abs account and make funny jokes and things of that nature. But I was always known, since I would say about the 9th grade, for having a six-pack. And I wasn't always that way. I grew up actually really skinny, and I had and I more so had the issue of I needed to put on size, and I needed to get bigger and stronger and more muscular. And in high school, I really committed to that. And it was kind of my identity. It was the thing that I became known for. And then, fast forward, that identity, bled into college. And I was always known as the individual that, you can find Chad in the gym. Where do you think Chad is? Oh, he's probably working out. Hey, Chad, you want to go to this college party? Oh, no, let me guess. You got to go to the gym. And that was kind of my college thing, is I was always the guy who was in the gym, and I was always the guy who was working out. And then after college, I became the Fit CEO, and I grew a company called the Health and Wealth Blueprint. The real LLC was called Chad Mullen Fitness, but my program was called the Health and Wealth Blueprint, where we helped high-level entrepreneurs get fit. And I had a love for business, and I had a love for fitness. At that time, fitness superseded my love for business. And then eventually, after I built that business up to $50,000 a month, and my love for business outgrew my love for fitness, and I switched to business coaching. And my first year of business coaching, I got really jacked. And just being fully honest, one of our company tenets is truth first, which means always speak your truth, always be able to receive one's truth as well, and always do the right thing. And you can't do the right thing unless you're acting within the truth. If I'm being fully honest, that first year of NLCA, when I got really fucking jacked, I was on some gear. I was doing TRT, and I wasn't doing a little TRT. I was doing a lot of TRT. And I mixed that with a couple Anavar and one other one that I forget. And I got really freaking jacked. And I did that for about a year. So in 2020, I was probably the most jacked that I ever was. It also was artificial because I was using steroids. And at the end, in February of 2021 is when I decided to come off gear. And I I was like, all right, I got to do this the right way. I've heard horror stories about individuals coming off gear before, and, they get man boobs and they get all, flubbery, if you will. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to do this the right way. So I went to a men's clinic in Austin, and I chatted with the individual. I was open and honest. Hey, here's what I've been doing. I'm not holding anything back. I want to come off it. I want to do it the right way. And basically what he told me is, he said, just go cold turkey. Just go, just you're young enough, everything will just kick back in place. Just go cold turkey. So I did. I just stopped injecting myself with steroids, and I just went cold turkey. And I gained a lot of weight. It's not the main reason that I gained a lot of weight. And I'm not blaming steroids at all. Steroids were 110% my choice, and I take full ownership for any negative side effects that came with that. I take 110% ownership for. It's just an important part of the story. So in addition to me gaining weight coming off of steroids, there was other things that I was doing as well. And those other things that I was doing is I started to lose my discipline. For the first time in my life, my identity shifted. My identity went from being Chad's abs on Twitter and the jacked guy and the guy who's always in the gym, to now the guy who has the successful fitness business, to now the guy who has a successful business where we coach fitness individuals. But my identity shifted internally. And that identity was, I didn't have to be this jacked persona of myself. And I never actually had this conversation with myself. And in hindsight 2020, this is what I think happened, is my identity shifted so that I got very complacent in my health and fitness. And especially when I came off steroids, I got even more complacent because there was something about, and if you've ever done steroids before, there's something about it that adds, and this is like one of the positives of it, it adds an extra layer of motivation where you want to go into the gym. But that's a little side tangent. Anyways, I lost a lot of that discipline. I lost a lot of that desire, and I lost a lot of that consistency. I would still go to the gym, but I didn't push myself very hard. I thought I was doing all the right things. I was going to the gym all the times that I needed to go to the gym, but I never pushed myself as hard as I needed to push myself. Additionally, I stopped tracking calories. I stopped tracking macros. I told myself that I was going to, just do, I was just going to, when I'm hungry, I'll eat. When I'm not hungry, I won't eat. And more times than not, I'm going to make good choices. Well, that didn't quite work out. I'm an individual who is extremely structured, extremely routined, and I just need those aspects of my life in order to stay routine and disciplined. So I stopped tracking calories. I stopped tracking macros. I probably started eating out 3 to 4 times a week. On the weekends, we would go out to dinner Friday night. We'd go out to dinner Saturday night. Sometimes we'd go out to dinner Sunday night. On every single time we would go out, I'd have at least 2 to 3 drinks with dinner. So that means that I was having, let's say it was three, that means I was having at least 6 drinks a week. And then additionally, maybe a drink on Sunday if we went out to eat as well. So I was drinking a lot more. I was eating out. I was extremely inflamed. I was not tracking macros. My discipline was completely off in my health and fitness. And my identity shift was a bunch of bullshit. And I'm going to go into the 3 points that I have here in a minute, but I just want to wrap up the story. So I got up to my peak weight of 244 pounds was my peak weight. And in high school, I had a hard time putting on weight. And in college, I barely could crack 200. My weight would be fluctuate between 190 and 200. And I would have a really hard time cracking 200. And once I got on the steroids, I peaked up to 244 purposefully. And then I trimmed all the way back down to 218. And when I got off the steroids, I was at right around 218. And I ballooned up because of not because of the steroids, but because of my lack of discipline. I ballooned up to 244 again. And I can remember when I stepped on the scale that day and I looked at the scale and I saw 244, I said, this just cannot happen. You cannot go past 250. This is absolutely disgusting. And this is me talking to myself. So no personal offense, no nothing. This is me talking to myself. To me personally, seeing that number really disgusted me for my personal standards. So I said, all right, I'm going to spend all of 2022 trying to lose this weight. And the whole entire year of 2022, I was in quotes trying to lose the weight. And I got down to 230. So I lost 14 pounds, but I never fully committed. I never fully said, I'm going all in to just shedding this weight. And the end of 2022 came around and I still was not really satisfied with where I was at. And I still didn't feel like I had my discipline down. And it wasn't even so much my personal image that I was upset about. I was upset about losing this aspect of myself, losing this aspect of my identity of always being really consistent in my health and fitness and being routined and disciplined in that arena of my life. It almost felt as though that discipline shifted to my business because I'm still today extremely disciplined in my business. And now I'm also very disciplined in my fitness, and we'll get to that point here in a minute. But that's what it felt like. It felt like all the discipline was lost. And that's the thing that I was mostly upset about, is that I just didn't have that aspect. So a whole nother year goes by in 2022. I'm still not at the goal that I have set for myself. And I'm still not quite at the discipline level that I needed to be. I still was doing, kind of still the same routine. I would still eat out. And I would play this game with myself, where on Friday night, I would say, all right, I'm going to, go out to eat, and I'm going to get everything that I want on the menu. And then I'll be good on Saturday. I'll be good on Sunday. And then I have a check-in with my fitness coach on Monday. So I'll make sure that I kind of game the system a little bit Sunday night. So I have a low check-in on Monday, and then we'll start the cycle again. And I just played this perpetual cycle with myself of, I'll be really good during the week. I'll, really enjoy Friday, and I'll try to be good enough so that by the time I have to check in on Monday, I have a good enough score. Well, that cycle obviously led to no results. And like I said, at the end of 2022, here we are again. And at the beginning of 2023, I said, this is where it all stops. I need to get back to being very disciplined in my health and fitness. And I committed to doing 75 hard. And if you guys have ever done the program, you know how awesome it is. If you have not done the program, here's my thoughts on the program really quick, and then I'll get into my 3 points on my learning lessons from all the story that I'm telling you. If you're somebody who works out regularly, and you're somebody who you would consider yourself very fit, like you're not a newbie, like you're pretty experienced, I would say 75 hard is something that's great if you have that level of discipline already. If you're somebody who's brand new, it's probably not the first program that you should do. And that's just my honest opinion aside. But it's been fantastic for me. And I only ever speak from personal experience, and it's been, in many areas of my life, fantastic. And I've been able to, I'm now the lowest weight that I've been in almost 3 years, which is crazy. This morning I woke up and I was 222. And when I got off steroids, I was 218. So I'm 4 pounds away from the weight that I was almost 2 years ago, I guess, not 3 years, but 2 years ago, which feels awesome. And the part that feels the most awesome is having that level of discipline back, and having that routine again in my life, where I'm still very disciplined in my business, and I'm also equally as disciplined in my fitness as well. And it feels great. So anyways, that's my story. I do have 3 takeaways from this experience that I want to share with you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy these takeaways as well. But takeaway number 1 is, how do I want to say this? What's the best way for me to say this? Is you don't have to be disciplined in just one area of your life. And I think that that's the thing that I've learned since doing 75 hard is coming back to the story here. In the beginning, in high school and college and post-college, I was very disciplined and regimented in my fitness predominantly. And then eventually business kind of took over that, and my fitness lost. Right. And I've always, and this is a negative thought pattern that I had. I've always thought, like, oh no, there goes my light. I've always thought to myself that I can only ever give this much effort to one thing. And if 75 hard has taught me anything, it's that is a complete bullshit fallacy. And if that's something that you think for yourself, I promise you it's not true. It's a bunch of bullshit, and it's a story that you're telling yourself because you're trying to shy away from the things that are making you uncomfortable. For myself personally, losing that weight was uncomfortable. I didn't want to have to put in all that work. I was a fitness coach. I know how much work had to go into that to lose the weight, to get back down to nearly where I was before. And I still got a ways to go, right? So the bullshit story that I told myself is I can only give one thing tons and tons of effort. And I chose for that one thing to be my business. But now I'm realizing that I can give multiple things tons of effort. And it's and Hermosi says this beautifully. It's not black or white. It's not yes or no. It's not, I'm going to give all this effort and everything else suffers. Everything's on a continuum, right? Maybe one day you have to, maybe today on Tuesday, January 31st, I need to give my business a little bit more effort than my fitness, right? But in the grand scheme, right, if you pull back and you're not just looking at the micro, you're not just looking at one day, and you pull back and you look at the month, you can say to yourself, hey, over the course of the month, I gave it my all on my fitness, and I gave it my all on my business. Maybe on this one day I had to give a little more to my fitness, and maybe on this day I had to give a little bit more to my business. But when we pull back and we look at the big picture, I'm able to give almost 100% of myself into multiple areas of my life. So the first thing that I've learned since going through this journey is that the story that I told myself that I can only ever give one thing all of my attention and my energy is a bunch of bullshit. So if that's something that you believe, please cut that bullshit story out. All right. The next thing that I wrote down here that's important to me and that I want to share is that congruency matters. Congruency matters. All right. So as I said earlier, I had a little bit of a shift in my identity. And where that shift went was I was the fitness guy to now I'm the business guy. And as a result of that, my fitness dropped, right? But I still wasn't congruent with my message. And I think I hid behind my business success because I'm a business coach for fitness professionals. And if I don't look the part, even though I have a successful business, even though I have the money, even though I have the business, even though I have the staff, even though I have the success to support that I am a good business coach, I still needed to have the physical fitness because I'm in the fitness industry. Sure, I'm in a niche in the fitness industry, and that niche is business. And I need to also be good at business if I'm going to be congruent with my message, but I also equally have to be good with fitness. And I realized that I wasn't being congruent with my message. Now, do I think that's affected my business? I'm not sure. Maybe some people didn't sign up because they didn't see me being congruent in my own personal fitness. If I'm being honest, on my ads, I've seen multiple comments of people saying like, why would I take advice from this guy? And yeah, that hurts, but whatever. But I think congruency matters, and I wasn't being congruent. And that was one of the things that I realized, that I wasn't being congruent. And I know that congruency matters, and I know it's important to me. And when I had that aha moment with myself, I said, fuck, I got to get this shit turned around because it is affecting my business. I'm sure it is affecting my personal brand. It is affecting how I'm being a leader for NLCA and everybody else that's involved. So congruency matters. And like I said, there's probably a facade that you are telling yourself as the reason why you are not being congruent. Here was the facade that I told myself. The facade that I told myself is I don't have to be ripped and jacked because I have a successful business with 35 staff members that makes X amount of money. And I've had X amount of success in my previous fitness business. I'm congruent, right? I'm congruent. I have everything that anyone would want to need to know in order to validate that I can get them success. And that was the facade that I told myself. So what facade are you living behind right now? Are you truly being congruent with yourself? And if you're not, what facade are you living behind? And that was the one that I recognized for myself. So that's number 2. All right, number 3, and this is a belief that I've had my whole entire life, but this past experience really drove it home for me. Self-worth is found in discipline. And I really, really, really believe this. And I think our current culture and our current society really poo-poos this and tries to get us to not be disciplined for reasons I am not sure. And I'm not going to put on my tinfoil hat, and I'm not going to talk about politics and conspiracy theories and things of that nature. But I truly do believe that there is a movement in culture where they are purposefully not making us very disciplined. And I'll leave the rest up for your imagination to fill in the blank. And I think they do this by telling us that it's okay to, just love yourself for the way you are is the common thing. And you should love yourself for the way you are, but you should also be actively trying to improve yourself, because the discipline in that pursuit of becoming your best self, I think that's where self-love is found. And like I said, I only ever speak from personal experience, but I can tell you in December, it was a dark time for me. And when I say dark time, it means every time I went out to eat and I didn't pick the healthy thing, or any time I went out to eat and I told myself I wasn't going to get a drink and I did, I can tell you I did not feel good about it. And I did not feel good about myself. And I felt it, and I started to feel it for the first time after 2 years. I started to feel it in my business. I started to feel that I wasn't showing up to meetings very confidently. I started to feel like I wasn't holding myself to a very high standard. And I started to feel like I said, I just didn't feel like a very great leader. And one of the things that's really important to me is to try to be the best leader that I can for myself, for my family, and for my company. And yeah, that's where I think self-love and self-worth is found. Is that it's found in your ability to follow the things that you said you were going to do. And that is something that in 2023 I've been able to do up until this point. Haven't had any drinks. I've done my 2 workouts a day in 75 hard. I've read my 10 pages. I've drinking a gallon a day. I'm in bed by 8:30. I'm up by 4:30, and I've lived that consistent life so far this year. And I know it's just January, and I know it's just January 31st, but I'm promising you this year, I ain't going back to what I was doing before. So my third and final point to you guys is self-worth is found in discipline. And that is something that from personal experience, I know to be true. And like I said, at the end of the year, I wasn't being a man of my word. I wasn't being my best self. And I certainly wasn't being disciplined. And my self-worth was not as high as it could be. And the second I turned that around and started being disciplined, I feel a lot more confident in my ability. I feel a lot more confident in myself. I feel a lot more confident in who I am as a man. And that makes me happy. All right, y'all, that is going to be the end of this podcast. I hope you guys found value in it. I know it's something that's different. I always love feedback. I thrive off feedback. So if you guys could let me know if you like this style, I got many, many, many more stories and challenges and struggles that I can share with you guys as well. So I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.